Hello everyone, welcome to the Daily Current Affair Analysis brought to you by Shankar IAS Academy, 28th October 2025. Before getting into the discussion, please make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you haven't, please do subscribe and also hit the bell icon to receive on-time updates from the Academy. So coming to the topics for today's discussion, the first topic is post-polio syndrome. So we know that we have successfully eliminated the polio as a public health concern, but still the post-polio syndrome is a major challenge for the polio survivors. And the next topic is regarding the Chhath Puja. So recently in the Mann Ki Baat episode, the Prime Minister of India said that currently the government is working on to secure UNESCO status, intangible cultural heritage status for the Chhath Puja. And the next topic is CJI appointment, that is Chief Justice of India appointment. So we know that our present Chief Justice of India is retiring on 24th November. So in this topic, we will be discussing the principle and the procedures behind the appointment of the Chief Justice of India. And the next topic is India Maritime Week 2025. So we know that currently the India Maritime Week is going on in Mumbai. So in this topic, we will be discussing the major developments in the Indian maritime sector in the last 1 decade and what are the major initiatives taken by the government for the development of the Indian maritime sector. And finally, we will be discussing some of the important prelims topics in the Prelims Focus. If all set, let's begin the discussion with the first topic. We need to talk more about post-polio syndrome. The article is taken from The Hindu. So we know that the October 24th is observed as the World Polio Day. And this year the theme is End Polio, Every Child, Every Vaccine, Everywhere. And we can see that the world has successfully reduced the polio infection by 99%. And currently the polio is only found in certain remote regions in Afghanistan and Pakistan. Other than that, the polio got eliminated by 99%. India, we successfully eliminated the polio in the year 2014. But the post-polio syndrome is still remaining as a challenge for the survivors. So let us discuss what is post-polio syndrome, but before that we have to understand about the basics of the polio infection. So we know that the full name is poliomyelitis. So it is caused by the polio virus, which is a type of enterovirus. Enterovirus means the virus which has a transmission route through the intestines of the animals. So in the case of the polio, it is mostly transmitted through the fecal oral route, that means from the contaminated food and water. So from there the virus will enter into the human intestine, and from there it will multiply and then it will destroy the neuron. We will discuss the development of the polio. But once the virus reaches the human body, the main target of the virus will be the nerve system. So we can see that it will attack the different neurons controlling different muscles. So once the neurons are dead because of the polio, in that case the people will experience a partial or full paralysis. And you can see that sometimes the polio can also spread through air, especially through the droplets from coughing or sneezing from the infected person. And the development of the polio. So the understanding the development of polio is very important to build a better clarity about the post-polio syndrome. So first stage is the entry stage. So here the virus will enter into the human body through the contaminated food and water, and it will reach the intestine, and there it will multiply. And from the intestine it will enter into the bloodstream, and from there the virus will finally reach it will reach the brain and spinal cord, and it will start destroying the motor neurons controlling different muscles. So we can see that once the neurons are died, in that case the muscles will become they cannot function, and the people will be left with the weak muscles, or sometimes in extreme cases paralysis. And coming to the treatment of the polio, so we can see that the polio cannot be cured. There is no cure for polio, but it can be prevented through vaccination. So we have two types of vaccines for the polio. First is the oral polio vaccine, which is given in drops, and it that's what we are following in majority part of the world. And it is inexpensive. At the same time, it is very important, suitable for achieving the herd immunity. That means in a society, if majority of the population is immune to a particular infection, in that is known as herd immunity. And this oral polio vaccine is suitable to achieve the herd immunity. And the next is the inactivated polio vaccine, which is given in injection form, and this is what is followed by the developed nations for safer immunization. And the next is a global polio eradication initiative. So it was launched in the year 1988 by WHO, UNICEF, Rotary Club, and various other organizations. And you can see that now we have reduced the polio cases by 99% across the world. And coming to the main topic, that is the post-polio syndrome. So it is a late complication of polio that appears nearly 15 to 40 years after the recovery. So here you can say the word recovery. So is it possible to recover from the polio? Actually, it depends upon different stages of identification. So we can see that if the condition is identified in the very early stage, for example, the initial stage of the initial symptoms of the polio virus will be fever, muscle pain and all. In that case itself, we can identify the infection. Then there is a possibility for saving the person without any complication. But if the virus attacked certain neurons and the neurons died, in that case, partial recovery with partial paralysis is possible. But if the condition is left untreated, then it will destroy the neurons. If the breathing muscles are affected, in that case the people will experience problem with breathing, and sometimes it can lead to death also. And the major symptoms of the post polio syndrome are new muscle weakness, fatigue and reduced endurance, muscle or joint pain, breathing problem, and also intolerance towards the cold, and finally the sleeping problems. So these are the major symptoms of the post polio syndrome. And according to the studies, you can see that nearly 25 to 40% of the polio survivors are facing the problem of post polio syndrome, and certain reports are also suggesting that up to 80% of the polio survivors are facing the problem. So why it happens? What is the reason behind the post polio syndrome? The exact cause is still unknown, but there is a leading hypothesis. So according to this, the surviving overworked superneurons start to fail. That is the reason behind the development of the post polio syndrome. So we know that once the the polio virus enters into the neurons, nerve system, it will destroy the neurons. So after the recovery, the remaining neurons will try to compensate the work done by the died neurons. So what happens? They have to overwork, and over a period of time, the surviving super neurons will also start to fail. And that is the reason behind, according to this hypothesis, that is the reason behind the development of the post polio syndrome. But there are other factors which can also contribute to this post polio syndrome. That includes normal aging in the survivors, overuse or disuse of the muscle, and physical stress, and finally the structural changes. For example, there is a possibility for the development of spinal cord gray matter atrophy in people with polio. So we can see that the spinal cord gray matter atrophy happens when the neurons in the spinal cord die. And no doubt the polio, once the polio infects a person, it will destroy the neurons. So people with the spinal cord gray matter atrophy may experience structural changes in their posture and all. So this can also contribute to the development of post polio syndrome. So normal aging, overuse or disuse of muscles, physical stress, and structural changes. And the leading hypothesis is the failure of the overworked superneurons. So this is a, as of now, this is considered as the reason behind the development of the post polio syndrome. And coming to the treatment, so there is no cure for this post polio syndrome, but the treatment will be focusing on managing the symptoms and energy conservation. And what are the treatment provided to the people with the post polio syndrome? First is gentle physical therapy and low stress exercises. Taking they are recommended to take frequent breaks from their activities, and the use of aids, for example walker and all. And the next is physical therapy, heat therapy, and mild medication to relieve the pain. So we can see that the people with who have got infected by the polio may experience cold intolerance. So that is why we are recommending the heat therapy, and the mild medications are provided to get relief from the pain. So these are the combination of treatment that we can provide to the people who are facing the post polio syndrome. So in this topic we discussed the basics about polio and also about the post polio syndrome. So based on this, try to answer this prelims practice question. The question is, with reference to polio, consider the following statements. Statement 1, polio is caused by a bacterium that primarily affects the respiratory system. Statement 2, India has been certified polio free by the World Health Organization. Statement 3, post polio syndrome refers to reactivation of polio virus in the survivors decades after the recovery. How many of the statements given above are correct? Option A, 1 only, option B, 2 only, option C, all the 3, and option D, none of the above. So from our discussion we can see that it is not a bacterium, it's a virus. So and it is not affecting the respiratory system, it is affecting the nervous system. So therefore the statement 1 is incorrect. And India has been certified polio free by the WHO in 2014. Therefore the statement 2 is correct. And the post polio syndrome refers to the reactivation of the polio virus in the survivors decades after the recovery. No, it is not caused by the reactivation of the virus. So like I mentioned, there is a leading hypothesis. So according to this, the failure of the overworked super neurons is considered as a reason behind. As of now, it is considered as a reason behind the development of the post-polio syndrome. So definitely it is not the reactivation of the post-polio. It is not the reactivation of the post-polio virus in the survivors. So therefore, the statement 3 is also incorrect. So the correct answer is option A, 1 only. So with this, we will move to the next article. PM Modi's UNESCO push for Chhath Puja from local ritual to global heritage. The article is taken from DD National. So in the Man Ki Baat episode, the Prime Minister said that now the government is currently working on to get the UNESCO intangible cultural status to the cultural heritage status to the Chhath Puja. So in this background, let us discuss more about this cultural festival. So coming to the Chhath Puja or the Chhath Mahaparva, it's a Hindu Vedic festival which is dedicated to the worship of Surya, that is a sun god, and the Chadi Maya. So she is a goddess and believed to be the sister of the sun god. And it is mostly observed in the states of Bihar, Jharkhand, Eastern Uttar Pradesh, and Nepal. That is in the Terai region, mostly in the Terai regions of the Himalaya. And the celebration or the festival will go for nearly 4 days, and it will usually starts after the Diwali in the month of October and November. And you can see that the major gods are worshipped in the festival are the Lord Surya and the Chadi Maya. And the main purpose is to thank the sun god for sustaining life, for bringing prosperity and health. So that is the main objective of the Chhath Puja. And coming to the intangible cultural heritage tag. So it is provided by the UNESCO to recognize the living cultural expressions like the traditions, rituals, and performing arts are at the risk of disappearing. And you can see that in India, the Kumbh Mela, the Maha Kumbh Mela received the tag in 2017. The Durga Puja received the tag in 2021. The performing arts like the drama Ram Leela received the tag in 2008. Chow dance received the tag in 2010. And the rituals and practices, for example, the Vedic chanting received the tag in 2008. The Buddhist chanting of Ladakh received the tag in 2012, and the yoga received the tag in 2016. So recently we know that the Garba dance of Gujarat received the tag, right? So coming to the impact of UNESCO recognition. So why the government is working on to get the UNESCO recognition for the Chhath festival. So the first is the cultural diplomacy. So you can say that it will strengthen the India soft power and diaspora ties. And the second is a strong environmental message in the Chhath festival. So we can see that it is about the worshipping of sun god and Chadi Maya. So it is talking about the relationship between the nature and the people, or the environment and the humans. So for example, the worship of the sun god and the Chadi Maya. She is believed to be the sixth form of Prakriti, or the sixth form of nature in the Vedic literature. So the festival has a strong environmental message. And the next is the economic empowerment. So you can see that during the time of Maha Kumbh Mela, we witnessed inflow of many tourists from across the world to India. We even saw many big Hollywood celebrities and business people coming to India to participate in the Maha Kumbh Mela. So if we can popularize this Chhath Puja like the Maha Kumbh Mela, then definitely we can expect many tourists to India, and that will support the local artisans and farmers. And the next is a global relevance. So you can see that it connects the ancient solar worship with the modern solar energy and the sustainability goals. And coming to the prelims practice question. So in this topic, we discussed what is Chhath Puja and its importance, and then we discussed why the government is working on to get the UNESCO recognition for the Chhath Puja. So the question is, with reference to Chhath Puja, recently in news, consider the following statement. Statement 1, the government of India has initiated efforts to secure UNESCO intangible cultural heritage status for the Chhath Mahaparva. The statement 2, the rituals of Chhath Puja emphasizes ecological harmony and cleanliness, aligning with the initiatives like the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan and Namami Ganga. Statement 3, the Chhath Puja originated during the Gupta period and is confined mainly to the state of Bihar. So from our discussion, we can see that currently the government is working on to secure the status from the UNESCO. So the statement 1 is correct. And the statement 2, so the Chhath Puja emphasizes ecological harmony and cleanliness. Yes, because we can say that it is talking about the relationship between the environment and the people. At the same time, during the time of Chhath Puja, the communities will clean the water bodies in their neighborhood for the puja purpose and all. So therefore, it is aligning with the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan mission and all. So definitely the statement 2 is correct. And coming to the statement 3, in the beginning we mentioned that it is a Hindu Vedic festival. So it is not originated during the time of Gupta. It is there since the Rigvedic time. The festival is there since the Rigvedic time. Therefore, the statement 3 is incorrect, and it is mainly confined to the state of Bihar. No, it is mainly confined to the Terai regions of Himalaya. So definitely the statement 3 is incorrect. So the correct answer is option A, 1 and 2 only. Let's check. Yes. With this, we will move to the next article. Chief Justice of India Gave recommends appointment of Justice Surya Kant as next CJI. The article is taken from The Hindu. So we know that on this coming 24th November, the Chief Justice of India, Mr. B.R. Gave, is retiring, and now he has recommended the name of Justice Surya Kant to the Union Law Ministry as the next Chief Justice of India. So in this background, let us discuss more about the appointment of the Chief Justice of India. So first we have the constitution basis. For example, Article 124 of the Indian Constitution establishes the Supreme Court, and also it provides provisions regarding the appointment of Chief Justice of India and other judges. And we know that coming to the constitutional position of the Chief Justice of India, he is considered as the head of the judicial system, and the Supreme Court. We know that it is the highest judicial authority of in India and the guardian of the Indian Constitution. So please note that the Supreme Court is the guardian of the Indian Constitution, and it was once asked in the UPSC prelims. And the CJI is considered to be the first among the equals. So in the judicial bench, there is no concept of hierarchy. All the judges are equal, but among the equal, the CJI will be the first. So there is no concept of hierarchy in the judicial bench. And coming to the procedure for the appointment, so we are following the principle of seniority. So by convention, the senior most judge of the Supreme Court will be appointed as the next Chief Justice of India. And you can see that in the past, this convention has been breached twice. For example, in 1970s, during the time of Indira Gandhi government, Justice A.N. Roy was appointed as the Chief Justice of India, superseding 3 senior most judges. And during the time of emergency, Justice M.H. Begg was appointed as the Chief Justice of India, superseding his senior. So there are incidents in the past, breaching the seniority convention. And this convention, still we are following this convention because it is important to ensure the judicial autonomy. And coming to the recommendation process, so we can see that it is based on the memorandum of procedure for the appointment of Chief Justice of India and the Supreme Court judges. So you can see that the retiring or the outgoing Chief Justice will recommend the name of the senior most judge to the Law Ministry, and later this Law Ministry will forward the recommendation to the Prime Minister of India, and the Prime Minister of India will advise the President for the appointment of the CJI. So what is the role of the President? So like I mentioned, the formal appointment of the Chief Justice of India is the role of the Indian President. So he will be appointing the the Chief Justice of India by the warrant under his hand and seal, and that is mentioned in Article 124 Clause 2. And after that, the Chief Justice will take the oath of office, which is mentioned in the 3rd schedule of the Indian Constitution, and he will be taking this oath of office before the President of India. And coming to the tenure for the Chief Justice of India, there is no fixed tenure. Usually they will the justice will serve until the age of 65, and he can resign. The Chief Justice can write the resignation to the President of India, and he can be removed only by the President on the ground of proved misbehavior or incapacity. And that too is not simple. For that, we have to follow the procedure of impeachment. So there is an act called Judges Inquiry Act of 1968, and for that we have to pass a resolution. According to the act, we have to pass a resolution in the Parliament. After that, the Lok Sabha, the Speaker will appoint a committee to study the case, and finally, after that, it will reach the bench of before the desk of the Indian President, and then only the Chief Justice or the judges will be removed. So it is not easy. And this is very important. This provision is also very important. That means this long complex impeachment procedure is also very important to protect the judicial autonomy. And we have a prelims practice question. So in this topic, we discussed about the appointment of the Indian Chief Justice of India. So based on this, try to answer this prelims practice question. It is asked in the UPSC prelims 2014. The question is, the power to increase the number of judges in the Supreme Court of India is vested in option A, the President of India, option B, the Parliament, option C, the Chief Justice of India, and option D, the Law Commission. So it is the Parliament of India. By law, they can increase the number of the judges in the Supreme Court. So therefore, the right answer is option B, the Parliament of India. So with this, we will move to the next article. Maritime India from Vision 2030 to Amritkal 2047. The article is taken from Press Information Bureau. So we know that the maritime sector, which is very important for the growth and development of a society. And India, we are known for our maritime relations, not just from today, not from yesterday, but from the ancient times. For example, during the time of Indus Valley civilization, we had a trade relation with different cultures in Oman. We had trade relation with Mesopotamia. And later we established a trade relation with the Roman Empire. And later we established a trade relation with the different cultures in Southeast Asia. And you can see that many rulers ruled the Indian subcontinent. They also supported the trade. For example, during the time of Mauryans, they established Uttarapada and Dakshinapada to connect the trade centers with the port cities. And you can see that later during the medieval time, the Sher Shah Suri, he constructed the great Grand Trunk Road to connect the North India with the Kolkata. So like that, the different rulers they supported. So after the colonization, even though the Europeans took the monopoly of the Indian trade, but there also we can see that the Indian traders as well as the Indian products dominated the world market. So we have that much scope in the maritime sector. But why we are discussing the maritime sector today? Because right now the Maritime Week, India Maritime Week, is happening in Mumbai, and in this context, the Press Information Bureau, that is exactly the Ministry of Port, Shipping and Waterways, they released a document discussing the developments of the Indian maritime sector since 2014. So let's begin the discussion. So first we are going to see the India Maritime Week 2025. So it is scheduled from October 27 to 31st. It is happening in NESCO Center in Mumbai, and the expected participation, so we are expecting nearly 100 plus countries, 1 lakh plus delegates, and 500 plus exhibitors. And the major themes of the discussion will be port development, shipbuilding, digital corridor, and bringing new technologies and innovation. And the next is the Maritime India Vision 2030. So it was launched in 2021 to modernize the Indian port, strengthening the inland waterways and expanding the shipping capacity. So the vision is aiming to integrate the sustainable development with the skill development and better innovation. And it acts as a roadmap for the trade, investment and employment in the maritime sector. And coming to the key achievements in the maritime sector since 2014. So first we are going to see the port. So you can see that the capacity of the Indian port got doubled. So in 2014 it was 1400, but you can see that currently it is 2762 million metric ton per annum. And you can see that the cargo handled. So if you take the volume of cargo handled in 2014, it was 972, but now we can see that it got increased to 1594 million metric ton. And if you take the statistics of 2023-24 and 2024-25, you can see that in 2023-24 it was 815, but now we can see that in the financial year 2024-25 it is 855. And the vessel turnaround time also got reduced from 93 hours to 48 hours. So what is meant by vessel turnaround time? So it's a time period between the arrival and departure of a vessel. So if the time is less, that is showing that the port is working with more efficiency. And the next is the financial gain. So the net surplus in the port sector also got increased from 1026 crore to 9352 crore. And you can see that the operating ratio also got improved from 79.3% to 43%. So it is also related to the efficiency. Operating ratio is also related to efficiency. If the operating ratio is high, that means the sector is working without much efficiency. If the operating ratio is less, then that means there is more efficiency. So this is the same principle that we are applying in CSAT to solve many questions related to time and work. So we can see that if the operating ratio is below 80, then that is also fine. So in the case of India, in 2014 itself, the operating ratio was 73, but again we reduced that to 43, so which is showing a significant development. And the next is the shipping. So we can see that Indian flagged vessels got increased from 1205 to 1549, and the gross tonnage of the Indian fleet got increased from 10 to 13.52 million gross tonnage. And the next is the workforce. So you can see that the Indian seafaring workforce is currently contributing nearly 12% of the global seafaring workforce. And you can see that between the period 2014 to 25, the workforce also got nearly doubled. So you can see that it is from 1 lakh to 3 lakh. And coming to the inland waterways, so we have the Inland Waterways Authority of India. According to them, in 2014, the inland waterways handled only 18 million metric ton of cargo. But now we can see that it is nearly 146 million metric ton, which is showing a progress of nearly 710%. And the operational waterways got increased from 3 to 29, and between 2024-25 nearly 7.5 crore passengers used the services like ferries and ropax. Ropax is a it is a service carries both the passengers and the vehicles from one area to another area. And recently the Haldia multimodal terminal got handed over to IRC Natural Resources under the public private partnership model. And the next is the Maritime Amritkal Vision 2047. So it's a long term plan worth of rupees 80 lakh crore, which is focusing more on the sustainable progress of the maritime sector in India. So we can see that the major focus of the Amritkal Vision 2047 is green port, digital shipping, hydrogen fuel, and methanol powered vessels. And you can see that under this umbrella vision, we have nearly 300 plus actionable initiatives, which is focusing on making India the top shipbuilding nation in the world. And you can see that the next program that we cannot ignore it, that is the Sagarmala. It is a flagship program under the Maritime India Vision 2030 and Maritime Amritkal Vision 2047. And you can see that under this, we are planned nearly 840 projects worth of rupees 5.8 lakh crore by 2035. And you can see that nearly 272 projects worth of 1.41 lakh crore is already completed. And currently, nearly 217 projects are going on. The total worth of this projects is coming around nearly 1.65 lakh crore. And the major focus of the Sagarmala is cutting the or reducing the logistics cost, development of green transportation, and better employment generation. So in this topic, we discussed the development of the Indian maritime sector in the last 1 decade, and also we discussed what are the initiatives the government brought to develop the maritime sector. So we have a mains question now. The question is, India's maritime sector holds significant immense potential to drive economic growth, yet it continues to face structural and operational challenges. Discuss the major challenges faced by India's maritime sector and suggest the measures to overcome them. So it's a 15 marks question, and you have to write around 250 words. Write the answer and post it in the comment section. We will review and we will reply for your answer. Now it's time to move to the next topic. Coming to the prelims focus, the first topic is We Rise. The full form is Women Entrepreneurs Reimagining Inclusive and Sustainable Enterprises. So it's an initiative launched under the collaboration of Niti Aayog's Women Entrepreneurship Platform and DP World. And it aims to support the Indian women entrepreneurs to scale up their business in the global level through providing trade facilitation, mentorship, and strategic partnership. And coming to the platform, women entrepreneurship. So it is working under the ministry. It is working under the Niti Aayog, and it was included in Niti Aayog in 2018 as an aggregator platform. So what is this aggregator platform? So it's a platform which brings the service provider and the consumer under a single roof. And later in 2022, it became a platform of public-private partnership. So now it includes members from both the public and the private sector. So the objective, in simple line, we can say that the objective of this platform is to make the women-led development a reality. So that means helping them to overcome many challenges and facilitating the enterprises established by the women or led by the women. And coming to the next topic, that is the Operation Fire Trial. So recently it was conducted by the Directorate of Revenue Intelligence, which is working under Ministry of Finance. And this operation was held in the Navasheva port, and the objective was to smash a sophisticated smuggling attempt which attempted to bring illegal Chinese fireworks and firecrackers into India. And you can see that according to the Indian trade classification system, it is considered as restricted. So the Indian trade classification system classifies the import and export into three, that is free, prohibited, and restricted. So we can see that they attempted to bring the restricted firecrackers into India illegally. So that is why the revenue intelligence launched this operation to smash it. And coming to the next topic, it is the second edition of Indian Navy's Biannual Commanders Conference 2025. So it is conducted by the Ministry of Defense. So this platform, this conference will act as a platform to discuss various challenges in the current, geostrategic environment. And the next topic is the Communicate to Connect Science for All. So it's a 2-day national workshop on science communication. So it was held in the CSIR Indian Institute of Himalayan Bioresource Technology, which is located in the Palampur. And you can see that the workshop was inaugurated by the National Institute of Science Communication and Policy Research with the CSIR Institute of Himalayan Bioresource Technology. The objective is to bring together leading scientists, communicators, and innovators to explore new strategies for science outreach and inclusive communication. So you can see that one of the objectives of the state, that is mentioned in the DPSP, that is the Directive Principles of State Policy, that is the increasing the scientific temper in the society. So that is why the government is taking these type of initiatives. And coming to the prelims question, so it's a PYQ taken from 2015 UPSC prelims. The question is, the government of India has established Niti Aayog to replace the option A, Human Rights Commission, option B, Finance Commission, option C, Law Commission, and option D, Planning Commission. So we all know that it is the Planning Commission. Option D is the right answer. So the Niti Aayog replaced the Planning Commission. So why this was asked in the UPSC prelims 2015? Because the Niti Aayog came into action only on the 1st January 2015. So the Niti Aayog replaced the Planning Commission on 1st January 2015, and that is why the question was asked in the UPSC prelims 2015. Let's check. Yes, the correct answer is option D, Planning Commission. So the Niti Aayog replaced the early Planning Commission. With this, we are coming to the conclusion for today's current affair analysis. If you like the video, hit the like button, give your feedback, as comments, and share this content with your friends. And before leaving this channel, don't forget to subscribe and also hit the bell icon to receive on-time updates from the academy. Thank you for listening to us. Thank you for listening to me. Have a nice day.